We've all seen the meme of Luigi winning a game of Mario Kart or Mario Party despite doing absolutely nothing. It got me thinking, could I complete Fire Emblem Path of Radiance without the main character, Ike, doing anything? The rules of this run are simple. Ike cannot directly attack and can only kill enemies in self-defense. Further, he cannot use any healing items or move during his turn. He will basically be clicking wait every single turn unless it's to complete an objective like seizing. His companions will also not kill a single enemy, ensuring that Ike finishes off everyone, though other than that they are free to act as they wish. So let's jump into it. We begin the game on hard and immediately end up with a problem. Ike starts with his back to the wall, meaning he can't be shoved from his starting position. I rescue Ike in order to get around that, allowing him to move out of the corner. I'm trying to avoid rescuing and dropping Ike further down the map in general, since I think it allows Ike to move far too quickly compared to shoving, and significantly reduces the challenge of, well, this challenge. But I'm allowing for moments like these if I don't move too much to avoid soft blocks. I quickly realized that Ike takes way too much damage on this level since he can't use a vulnerary to heal. He needs to dodge more enemies or just take less damage overall. So the run is impossible from the first level. Unless. Now Ike takes way less damage. It's crazy how that works. I slowly shoved him north to deal with the boss and realized that unless he got some dodges, he still wouldn't be able to survive, even on easy mode. In order to maximize his chances, I used Titania and Oscar to bait the sword enemies away, meaning that he only had to deal with the axe enemies, which had about a 45 hit on him. It took me around 13 attempts to beat the level, but eventually the stars shined on Ike and he was able to move on. The next level gives us access to Rice, who is a critically important unit for this run. He not only offers Ike his only way of healing during this game, but he also is able to shove him, so between him and Boyd I can now move Ike 2 spaces a turn. Unfortunately, the enemy is able to reach us from turn 1, so we have no real way of getting Ike out of this corner without putting Rice and Boyd in danger. Getting through these first few turns requires careful manipulation of the AI so that they will attack Ike. They like to prioritize Ike as the Lord, but as Ike gets stronger and the rest of my team does not, that will start to change over time. We also have our first encounter with heal hedges. When an enemy in Path of Radiance takes too much damage but does not die, he will retreat and heal himself, either by using an item or by standing on a heal hedge. I wasn't sure at this point in the game how long they would stand on the hedge, but I didn't want to put anyone besides Ike in the enemy's attack range. This led to the heal hedge standoff, with the enemy healing a measly 2 HP per turn and me just, waiting till he's ready, I guess. Next level introduced a new challenge for Ike: ranged units. As a sword unit, Ike cannot kill ranged units unless he manipulates them into attacking up close. He can only really do that with units who use hand axes, javelins, and magic. Units like archers, who can only attack from far away, are basically invincible for this entire run. This puts extra pressure on my shove team, who needs to be strong enough to survive and tank these archers, as well as move through the entire level. This level isn't so bad since I have Shinon and Gatri to shove, but over time, this will become much more annoying. Nonetheless, I managed to slowly get through this level, and even managed to save Marcia thanks to her being practically invincible on easy mode. There were a few weird spots, like when I ended up with no possible way to move Ike for a turn, but once the boss died, the level ended successfully. The next level is kind of a pain in the ass. It's filled with lance units, who Ike can't kill without the steel sword, and this will most certainly break Ike's steel sword. And the boss also has a ranged weapon, which means the only way for me to win is for me to manipulate the boss into attacking me up close. The enemy can also hit me from the first turn, meaning that I have to find a way to get most of my units out of the way. We were officially at the point where the enemy would always attack my other units over Ike, which makes manipulating them into suicide much more difficult. I decided to sacrifice Soren. He was too weak to shove Ike anyways, which meant he has no real reason for being on our team. That gave my other units the opportunity to run to the top right corner while Ike cleared out the early enemies. I then began the process of moving Ike into the bushes near the top of the map. The bushes allowed me to set up choke points, which meant I could create situations where the only way the boss could attack Ike was from directly in front of him. I actually got this perfect setup the first time. The only problem was Ike didn't kill with the Regal Sword, which meant the boss ran away to heal. And by the time he came back, my previously perfect setup was ruined as the archers had left to fight Shion and Gatry. I floundered in this corner trying to get the enemy to attack Ike for a long time and eventually ended up in a situation where very few of my units could even move, leading to what was basically a soft lock. I tried dropping rice to bait enemies out of position and got him killed on turn 51, causing me to finally reset and try again. This time I used my Iron Sword on the early enemies, which meant Ike didn't break his Steel Sword and that the enemies were all left with small amounts of health to heal. This caused the enemies to run back and get vulneraries, including the one the boss held, meaning that by the time we fought the boss, he would have no way of healing himself. Unfortunately, I botched the setup this time around, leading to one of the archers ending up behind Ike and me not really having a good way to get the boss to fight me. This time, however, I was much more careful about where the enemies would move, allowing myself plenty of places for Titania, Shinon, and Gatry to run around. This meant that eventually I was able to rearrange the enemies and force the boss into attacking Ike up close. And this time Ike had more strength and easily 2-hit killed him. The next level was a much needed break, being a defense level. Ike sat here clicking end turn until all the enemies died, and with the level only lasting 6 turns on easy mode, most of the enemies couldn't even reach Ike by the time it was done. Next we have the forest level, where Ike has to escape at the point at the bottom of the map. At first I thought I'd break towards the right bridge, seeing as it didn't have an archer on it, but that quickly became a clusterfuck. With Shinon and Gatry gone, Boyd was my only shoving unit, and since he was only level 2, he couldn't really take more than a couple hits from most enemies. This led to a situation where I had to try to get everyone away from Ike so he could kill, but the enemies just kept chasing my other units until they backed me into a corner and killed them. On the second try, I pushed Ike through the woods towards the left bridge. So long as Ike is in the woods, no enemies would attack him or my other units. I emerged on the left side out of range of all the central enemies, and to my surprise they didn't move to engage us. I was able to use Titania to trap the one archer from this bridge in the woods, allowing Boyd and Rice to team shove Ike down the map. By the time Ike got here, the other enemies moved to engage, including the central top group, but I was able to have Titania block the bridge and keep all of the enemies stuck in the top of the map. The Wind Mage decided to stand directly in front of Ike and attack each turn, leading to an annoying situation where I could only shove Ike with one of my units. But eventually I managed to get Ike in front of the boss, who he almost killed. The boss, of course, took out a vulnerary, costing me more extra turns, and I had stupidly brought Titania down to escape, meaning that the enemies got a little closer than I wanted them to, but eventually the boss ran out of healing items and everyone managed to escape, besides Boyd, who needed to shove Ike, and we received a much needed 60 bonus EXP for our victory. We now reach our first route level, and one I thought I had properly prepared for. To win a route level, you have to kill every single unit on the map. This means that if a route map has even a single archer, it would be completely impossible to beat. However, Mia joins the level as a green unit, and if I rescue Ike so she can't talk to him, I should be able to use her to kill enemies without violating the rules. Or so I thought. Unfortunately, even without being able to talk to Ike, Mia's AI won't let her attack. She'll simply follow whoever has rescued Ike around the map, never engaging any of the enemies. This makes it impossible for Mia to kill the archers for me and ruins the strategy I had formed for beating this map. And so, unfortunately, the run ends here, with Ike unable to actually win by doing nothing. I wasn't sure I was going to still upload this video considering it was a loss, but it was such a fun run up until this point that required me to manipulate the game in really interesting ways, so I felt like I would put it out there. I may even continue this run, killing everyone besides the archers legit before cheating to kill them, if you guys want to see me do that. I think it would be fun to see what happens with the later levels during this challenge, and I'm not really sure I want the fact that I technically have to cheat here to ruin the run. Or if anyone knows some way to break Mia's AI, I'll just beat it that way and keep going. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed the run thus far, and please subscribe to see more Fire Emblem challenge runs and content.